road until 12:30 tomorrow lunchtime. Keith, do you want to start us off and then we'll come to you?
Sean, what's it going to take now to stay up?
Better performances in the last half an hour. But it's going to take playing like we did for the first half and keeping that consistency throughout the whole 95 minutes, because that's what you have to do. You make sure every detail is covered, everything counts in a game of football, and that's what we're not doing as well as when I first got it.
Are you confident that the players' confidence would have taken a knock by the
No, I'm not confident at all. Confidence is built, but it's built from somewhere. It's built from performances. You can't guarantee. You can't just go, oh, they're going to be confident. It's built. So it's built on the training ground. It's built from performances. It's built in each other, and it's a constant process. That's how teams turn things around.
Can you do that quickly? Can you turn that around quickly?
Well, it happened very quickly when we got here, and then a few injuries and suspensions and that kind of altered it a little bit. So we've got to refine it very quickly. But like I say, it's part of football. It's part of life when freedom comes from a change. You know, they bring a new manager in, which was me, and we play Arsenal, we win, and everyone thinks it's all solved. And if you remember, I didn't. I said, no, it's one step. So it's a good step, but it's one step. That's all I said. Because I know it's not all solved. There's problems here that are deeper than that with this team. You know, it's going to take time, but we've been trying to fast track it, and we've made some strides. But now we've got 5 big games to make sure that we get the job done.
Sinead?
The Leicester game, is that now a must win?
Every game's a must win. I must have heard that 18 times since I've been here. Well, I haven't been here 18 games, but I must have heard it's a must win.
It's one win in 10 now, with 5 remaining. Do you change anything with your approach or your methods? Well,
there's only so much we can change. You know, everyone knows the squad here, so there are certain things we can change, there's certain things we can't. You know, we're working with a group. Like I said, if you add in Seamus into that group, I think that's the same team as played Arsenal, and I don't think many people want that many changes after the Arsenal win. So, you know, there is a format here that could work. It's proved to work. We need sharpness to that performance with obviously Dom. I took Ganner off and I took Dom off to protect him tonight. You know, that comes more for Dom, of course, that real show is, but I thought he was alive again tonight. So, you know, that'll add and enhance. You know, don't be surprised. It's a funny thing about football. When you get someone to score goals, you defend better. And when you get someone to score goals, you score more because you've got someone to score goals. So that's important as well. You know, we've got people who we believe can score goals, but they've got to score them to make it happen. You can't just wait for it to happen. I've said that every week.
You've mentioned Arsenal a few times today, that victory in the first game. How far away are you from that performance?
Well, until the second goal, not far, because that was a very good performance. But after the second goal, that's the big challenge for me, is where did the mentality go? How quickly does that change? Who re-grips it? Who on our team goes, right, okay, let's re-grip what we were doing here? Because you're not a million miles. You know, I always believe that there's got to be a future in your performances. And if we were to lose tonight but played like we did in the first half and we lost, there's a future in that, because you know that another day that isn't going to happen with that style of performance and that level of performance. Does that make sense? So that's the key for me, is when it drops off so quickly, then you go, whoa, hang on, lads, what's going on here? So that's when we've got to nip it in the bud, and we've got to do it on pitch. Can't just wait till after the game to correct it.
I find how much does that worry you, that drop off after the second?
I don't use the word worry, it's realities. Like I just said to answer that, I've seen it right in front of my eyes, and I saw it against Fulham. So it's a reality. There's no point worrying. Worrying isn't going to solve anything. Work solves things. Work on the training pitch, work with the players, consistency, their consistency. That's what solves things. That's what takes away any problems. But I said, it doesn't worry me about it in that sense, because worry is something that comes and goes. It's about the work that we do.
Mike?
Sean, what are the managerial tools that you and your coaching staff can use in this short space of time between now and Leicester to try and get the best out of them that you know you've seen enough of, but not consistently?
Well, we'll find out. Reminding them of the work they have done, because it can't be all about the work they haven't done. Remind them of the work they have done, remind them of why they've done it, remind them what they've brought to the table, imagine the key moments they've found. You know, bring into them what they've actually already changed, because there has been a change since we got here. You know, I think it was 5 points out of the previous 10 games, so there's obviously been a change. It's how far we can take that change, and now we've got 5 big games to continue the change and get back on it, because we've just softened a little bit. So, you know, the margins in football are very, very tight. If Dom scores, you never know tonight, it might change everything. That's how tight margins in football can be. The whole mindset of a performance, it's not just the scoreline, it's the mindset of a performance. And if Dom's goal counts, changes the feel.
Is that some of that softening from the players individually and then collectively with the team Is it down to them not then affecting the game as positively as they can do in terms of what they do in challenges, in
Not just fear and belief get affected by goals. You know, that's what football's about. You know, that's how quickly it changes. And teams that are rolling, they don't get as affected for obvious reasons because their high confidence is high. You know, confidence comes from playing, it comes from training, it comes from delivery. So when your confidence is high, you believe in everything you're doing, and then when confidence changes, which has done, then it's like, oh, I wonder what we can do to make it change. And you wait for things to happen rather than making it happen. You know, they're inside tonight. I've seen them a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago, nowhere near that. They've signed some very good players, to be fair, but also they've built a mentality over time. We've been trying to do that since we got here. Good signs of it in some situations. Now we've got to remind ourselves of how we did it and remind them how we did it and then take on the next one. Because that one has to get parked quickly, that's for sure. Not in the sense of just dismissing it, no way, but in the point of it has to get parked because the next one's the most important.
I know you mentioned that Seamus Coleman may be back for Leicester. Do you think at times, particularly when the team softens up, do they miss the leadership that Seamus Coleman provides?
He's a very important player. There are others here, but I think with his history, with his understanding of the club and the team, and he's performed very, very well since I've been here, and he has been a loss to us, so we do look forward to him being back.
Simon?
But just in terms then of confidence and belief and hope, I suppose, as well, what difference could a win at Leicester actually do for all those things?
I mean, it creates a different atmosphere. That's what it does. You know, especially in them tight games, you know, it creates a different atmosphere. We go down there, take on the game and win. It creates a different atmosphere. The belief floods back in very quickly. It's a strange thing about, you know, I played all my life, and it's a strange thing about it, how quickly it can turn around. But the key point is you making it happen, and I can't emphasise that enough. I'm saying to the players constantly, you make things happen in football. Now and again you get a lucky one, but even that doesn't really build belief. The ones that build belief are when you take it on, then deliver, and then get a result. They're the ones that really build belief.
Carl?
Sure. Monday's game is obviously, because the circumstances in 2-4 will be built up as a big occasion.
Of course.
The players, do you build it up as it is this occasion, or do you play it down? How do you approach it?
Well, I've been trying to build a consistent level, so therefore, whatever game it is, you know, my mindset is always to take it on. That's been the thing that I learned as a player. Regardless, big games, small games, your standards are the key. Your standards and consistent standards. We've been trying to achieve that. It is fair to say that the thing that gets in the way of that is quite obviously the feel of what's going on. So therefore, you know, the tightness, if you're not doing as well, and the openness and the freedom, if you are doing well, you know, these are the things that are affected. So the next one will be a case of saying, right, lads, a lot of the basic principles of what we're doing are correct, but the details are massively important, and every detail counts. Every hard yard has to be done. Every time you go in the box, you've got to believe you're going to score a goal. They're the things that add in the details to getting a win.
The stakes seem so much higher for Monday than maybe they did.
The stakes have been high ever since I got. The stakes should be high, by the way. A club like Everton, the stakes should be high. That's what the players need to remember. They should be high at this football club.
Thanks, Carl. Well?
Sean, a lot of fans are wondering why Yerry Mina hasn't been given a chance, given that you've conceded 7 goals in the past 2 home games. So you explain to them why maybe Mina has been left on the bench, and does it come to you thinking?
I actually think the front of the team hasn't been as good over the last few games, and I thought it was a bit better today. And that always helps the back four to defend. If you've got a front to your team working well and you're attacking well, that helps your back four defend. I thought, I've got to be honest, until the second goal, and it wasn't really much to do with him, I thought Michael Keane was excellent tonight. I thought Taki stuck at it, as he does. And then, you know, the back four unit lost its way. It's not just about individuals. I think Yerry Mina is a very good player. He hasn't played a lot, which is another part of my thinking. You've got to be fit and you've got to be active. But he's a very good player, and we've got other good players here, but it's trying to find the right combination. That's all it is.
There's injuries maybe coming to a factor as well, which might break down again, because he has had a lot of problems.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm aware that he has had problems before I was here, and he hasn't played a lot of football this season.
Greg?
How much of a challenge has it been for you not having experience covering the full-back berth? People made a lot of noise, well, rightly, about the fact that Strike wasn't brought in January. But when you've had Seamus out, or one maybe wants to change it at left-back, there's not been like for like.
I don't think it's under-documented that there's an imbalance in the squad here. I don't think that's ever been under-documented. I can't think of a better word, so that's not a good word, but I think that there is an imbalance of the squad here. I think everyone knows that, and that's a transitional period from all the money that was spent to bringing more money back in. That transition of events has led to an imbalanced squad. I think everyone knows that. And that will be corrected going forwards, but you can't correct it like that. It doesn't work like that. And usually you need money to correct it. That's another thing.
Okay, any further questions in the open section before we move on to the Mondays?